Thank you, friend. Shabbat shalom. Greetings to you all. It's always a pleasure to see you. They say it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Yes, happy birthday to Canada. Happy birthday to America. And friends, 4th of July does not go by that I don't think of the great Jimmy Cagney portrayal of George M. Cohan, the Yankee Doodle Dandy. What a great movie. What a great song. And congratulations do go out to America for its recognition that all people who so wish are entitled to be married. It's a step along the way of perhaps finally coming to believe its own Declaration of Independence wording that all are created equal. You see, friends, it may say men, but I believe men in that context to be a synagogue for all people. And for those who may have forgotten, a synagogue is a figure of speech in which a reference to a thing is by the name of its parts, such as bread for food, suits for businessmen, men for humanity. It is a great literary tool and one favored by many, including the immortal bard Shakespeare. So why not by Thomas Jefferson? Now, I want to take a moment to send my wishes for a speedy recovery to Wayne Tallison. He recently had shoulder surgery, and we understand that he's recovering beautifully. We'll continue to say prayers and send out good wishes and goodwill for your well-being. You are a prince among people, a great example to your children, and a paragon of virtue. Recover quickly. You are missed. And Amber, thank you for your email and your observation. Yes, you are correct. God called Moses a rebel and put him in the category of Korah and Dathan. He told Aaron and Moses that they themselves did exactly what they were supposed to stop the people from doing. And it's especially painful for Moses, who said, "Listen, rebels," to hear God apply that word now to him when he says, "You rebelled." Friends, leaders of a congregation cannot violate the very instruction that they uphold and teach to others. Oh, were it still that way. This week, we will read one of the greatest parshas in the Torah, as far as I'm concerned. It contains one of the events preordained at creation. You're about to be transported to one of the strangest, funniest, most ironic, most powerful episodes in biblical writing. It's based on actual characters and very ancient poetry. And it almost just appears. And so it could have been put in almost anywhere. And in it we will read only the second talking animal scene in the Bible. The first, of course, being the serpent in Genesis. A horse is a horse, of course, and no one can talk to a horse, of course. That is, of course, unless the horse is the famous Mr. Ed. Well, this is not technically the Mr. Ed Parsha, but it is one of my favorites. This is Balak. And while there may not be a talking horse, there is a talking ass. And friends, then it was unusual. But now, it seems they are everywhere. Now, last week, my friends, I said, we need more humor in our lives. This week we have it. This parsha is the comic relief of the Torah. And many resist seeing humor in the Bible. They feel being funny is contrary to its dignity. Why people believe there can be no humor in the book that has guided the lives, the consciousness, and the spirit of man for over 3,000 years is beyond me. Humor is essential in life. Some of the most important events and memories of our lives are based in humor. And just as we have seen the Torah full of foreshadowing, allusion, simile, metaphor, synagogue, here we are presented with an amazing tale. It's a retelling in many ways of the story of Abraham and Isaac. It's all about the promise that God made to a family. It's a foretelling of the story of David and Goliath, and how much of life's great stories are about the underdog, the little guy, up against the powerful forces of evil. It goes on today, and it's a story of trying to go home. For all these years, wherever we have gone, we have worked hard, we have contributed, we try and belong. We have made every place on earth our home. And there have been obstacles and fear every step of the way. As a species, we pretend to be inclusive, but in every generation, there continue struggles for one group of man or another. The story we read here of a people wanting to go home is written in every generation. Now, we've noticed bookends of morals or lessons or adventures appearing in the Torah. And when we look at the Torah from a higher perspective, we see even more bookends. The blessing of Abraham in Genesis at the beginning of the story, as a family set out for the promised land on a journey that brings them full circle. Remember how the spies, actually the leaders, but still the spies, came to Hebron, Abraham's home. Well, here the end of the bookend is the blessing of Balaam, mirroring that promise to Abraham, that blessing of God as they find their land. Now, Balak is one of the very few parshas of the Torah, like Yitro, Jethro, named for a non-Israelite individual. Balak was a king of Moab, actually, and he goes and talks to the Midianites about the need to remove these stronger, more numerous, more powerful peoples who came from Egypt. And so he hires Balaam, a wizard of exceptional skill, like the Gandalf of his day. These are familiar people to us. We have read about them. We have encountered them, the Moabites and the Midianites. In fact, we talked about the Midianites when we talked about Miriam's punishment. And friends, we know another Moabite, and we read her book every year during Shavuot. A mere month or so ago, the book of Ruth. Ruth was the great-grandmother of David, and therefore of all royalty. And she chose to become an Israelite after her husband died. And she chose to follow the God of Israel. And we know that Moses' first wife was a Midianite, that her father Yitro, who helped guide Moses, was a Midianite, and that he and they were all monotheistic followers of the same God. Now these people are enemies. And like the story of Esau and his evil soul, beware illusions of truth. All this does is it tells us that this was written or added much later than the actual events, when perhaps these nations were at odds with each other. But this story is about Balak trying to curse Israel, and Balaam's at first refusal to participate, and then his acquiescence, his journey, his preordained talking companion, and his parallel to Abraham in the reiteration of God's promise, I know that whom you bless is blessed, and whom you curse is cursed. I'm not going to tell you the story. You must go and read it. It is not that long, but it is fantastic. You can look it up for those of you on the internet. Look up Balaam. It's in Numbers. It's a quite simple story. It's not that long. It's about a guy and his talking donkey, right? And the images are incredible as we see Balaam and his donkey go down narrow paths, one after the other, 3 of them, till they can no longer move. Well, it's about the narrowing paths we walk down in life, the blind beliefs we may follow, the closing ourselves to hearing and seeing what is true, what is right. But friends, it's never too late to hear the word of God. Sometimes just as a whisper or the still small voice inside your head or your heart. My back was up against the wall. I slowly just walked away. You never really heard my call when I cried out that way. These dreams of you, so real and so true. Too often we prevent ourselves from listening. We ignore, or we argue with the insights, the message, the words, the feelings. But if we do stop and listen, we can get out of our own way. There will be an answer. Let it be. Let it be. It is a fantastic tale, my friends, with the curses and the blessing, with the wisdom of the talking ass, with the blindness of the professional seer. This story would have made a fantastic fractured fairy tale. Now, God speaks to a non-Israelite prophet, and it's a reminder that the Torah begins with the story of the connection between God and all of the earth. There is no our God, their God. There's only God. Whether you call it Elohim, Adonai, Jehovah, Great Spirit, supreme being, Aten, Allah, Brahman, Baha. There is only one God, and it's the God of everyone. Friends, we do not know who God either reveals himself or herself to, or who God talks to. Those you judge, those you think you are better than, they may have a tighter connection to God. As you read this, you will note that the thematic key word of this entire episode is to see, roa. The ass sees, the seer does not. Hey, Santa sees us. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been good or bad, so be good, for goodness sake. That's always been one of my favorites. But friends, it's also about hearing. We hear what we want to hear. I listen for your footsteps coming up the drive. Listen for your footsteps, but they don't arrive. Waiting for your knock, dear, on my old front door. I don't hear it. Does it mean you don't love me anymore? One of my favorite Beatles songs. Don't pass me by. Friends, the emphatic point of the story is that God alone controls human destiny, and man has no independent power to impose curses or blessings. As Balaam tells us, that which the Lord speaks to me, it alone can I speak. This already repeated sentence, recurring now just before Balaam pronounces his final oracles, has the force of a thematic refrain. The whole point of the story is there is no independent realm of word magic and vision that a technician of the holy can manipulate. All blessings and curses are dictated by the Lord. And so for Balak to say, "What have you done to me? I took you to curse my enemies, and look, you have done nothing but bless." This shows us that Balak, he just doesn't understand. Why, that which the Lord puts in my mouth, only that do I keep to speak. Now, God's first words to Abraham are explicit. The full wording to Abraham is, "And I'll bless those who bless you, and those who affront you, I'll curse." Balaam will bless Israel with the parallel words, "Those who bless you, he's blessed, and those who curse you, he's cursed." Friends, the prophets say what they are told to say. But we often have a hard time believing that someone has been told. Now, is it because we close ourselves off to the voice of God, and therefore we do not accept that others did not close themselves off and do indeed hear? Will we not be satisfied unless there's another Sinai epiphany where the voice is heard by all? And if not all, then at least by us. And if not us, then at least by me. This concept of talking animals would not be as unusual to natives or other cultures who believe everything on earth has a voice. Trees, mountains, birds. Friends, we all have a voice. We don't always hear, but we all have a voice. Everything has a voice. And interestingly, in my many talks with people, one of the wishes that I so often hear, especially when counseling them, is that they wish they were understood better. Now, have any of you ever wished that? Who hasn't thought at one time or another that things might just be a little easier, a little smoother, a little different, if others understood us just a little bit better? Well, my friends, the wish should be not to be better understood, but to better understand. Learn the language of those around you. Do not wait for them to understand you. You need to understand them, and it starts by listening, by hearing. Maybe then you'll hear all the things that, the things around you, the universe has to say. Trees, plants, you have no idea what could be talking to you. Friends, the world is sacred, and so's everything in it. Express your gratitude. Friends, light a candle, make a wish, celebrate your life and the lives of those you love, share your feelings with them, live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed, share and honor the light and all who live in the light, and continue to shine. Continue to send everyone you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. And remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this ride together. And the next time a horse, a cloud, a tree, a river, a friend calls to you, think of those immortal words of Carole King. You just call out my name, and wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again, winter, spring, summer, or fall. All you got to do is call. Thank you all. Love you. See you all next time. And I do love seeing you again. And remember, your wishes do come true. They always come true. Enjoy your country's birthday, and please smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. Bless you all. Shabbat shalom. Thank you for joining me. Take care. Have a wonderful celebration. Bye.